Welcome back to the Square. I am your host, Curtis the Fifth,
And I'm Curtis the Fourth.
and we're back on the mic here. It's been a while again, but some more stuff as we finally let all the craziness of the first 3 days of NFL free agency subside. Now, some more serious moves have been made since then, and there's some more stuff to talk about. Some interesting things that have developed across the NFL landscape, and we'll get to all of it. Not too much major news outside of transactions to get to, I don't think, outside of Washington's whole mess. I mean,
Yeah.
they're again in the news with the Congress coming after them, more financial troubles for them stealing money away from the other NFL owners, what have you. We'll get some more information on that in the weeks to come. Don't have to bash on them too much for the time being. But regardless, let's get into what we're here to talk about. NFL free agency leading into the NFL draft, which is just 14 days away, basically.
Yes, it is.
Something around that time.
Yep.
So let's get into it. Just recently, Geno Smith re-signed with Seattle. Today, biggest news today. Sammy Watkins goes ahead, signs that massive 1-year deal for $4 million with the Green Bay Packers. Is he there to fill the void of Devontae Adams?
I think it's more of MVS, possibly. I don't know. I mean, Sammy Watkins had to sign somewhere, and Green Bay, damn sure needed receivers. So it's not about where you start; it's where you finish. So
yeah,
it's just one of, I'm hoping, many signings. As a fan, now as a Bears fan, I can only laugh at this. This is like, wow. I always looked at that like, thank you. This is not gonna go well for y'all.
I don't know what that offense is gonna look putrid next year. I'm there's obviously you guys can probably hear the smile on my face with the Sammy Watkins signing, but seriously, when I look at Green Bay. This is what I've been saying all offseason. And since the day that they lost to San Francisco till now, the only thing I could possibly think of to talk about this team is this has just been an organizational failure. Even re-signing Aaron Rodgers was an organizational failure. Like, they couldn't even get the contract correct.
That, or they didn't have a plan after they signed him, because obviously the Devontae Adams thing, he forced his hand out of there, where they granted him a trade, or figured they were better off trading him as opposed to trying to go through that whole whether or not he was gonna play or not play for the franchise tag after they franchise tagged him.
Yeah,
which is I can't even begin to articulate what's going on with the organization, with the Green Bay Packers organization, from a mental business standpoint, and how they do public relations or player management relations. It's obviously there's a disconnect somewhere here, and a big time, and it's spilling over into contracts and negotiations and promises and hints,
broken promises,
right? And it's just it's a soap opera over here, and it's bad. It's bad soap operas right now. Drama nonsense right now in Green Bay. And they signed Sammy Watkins. I don't have a problem with it. It's just kind of like, considering everything that has happened since they lost to the San Francisco 49ers till right now, and they signed Sammy Watkins. But then it's like, are you serious? It's like they got this, they got to move in right under the wire before the draft. Even though there's 2 more weeks, but are they going to be aggressively bringing up this more? Over the hill, underachieving. Underwhelming wide receiver. Big name. more bust to this boom, type, player, and I don't know. Because here we go again. Sammy Watkins was in, Baltimore last year.
Mm-hmm.
That did not excite me last year when he went to Baltimore, when he left my beloved Kansas City Chiefs, which is, I'm laughing like now, like I was laughing then. Like, my gosh, I think I should be happy about this, even though he's leaving. Like we're losing a player, and he did contribute, but I never felt comfortable with him in Kansas City. I just didn't, and luckily he was there at the right time. He was there for the Super Bowl. So I mean, he was on that championship team. However, that would be forever the highlight of his career. And so for going to Green Bay, I look at it from Green Bay standpoint. Hey, they got to get somebody. Is there somebody with some veteran leadership? Sure. Okay, you got that secured. Now you got to go get the big guns that you've been needing anyway in the first place. You're dealing with all the supplemental things, but right now they're probably in no position to make the big move just yet. Maybe they have to, lean and you leverage the draft to, finagle that and then go and hit free agency harder, or maybe even construct another trade in some manner. I don't know, but that remains to be seen. But there's a lot of work to be done in Green Bay. But as you were saying, organizational failure, absolutely. I couldn't really see it. I needed to see the season play out. Just because in the midst of this failure, they have found a way to win 13 games, still continue to be competing at the top of the conference, yet we can see clearly they don't have the element to get them over the top to win a championship.
The same thing that we talked about last year all season long, how easy their schedule was. They're like, yeah, they got a first place schedule. Their strength of record is oh my goodness, it's leaps and bounds. But it's like, these are all teams that nobody coming into the season said, "Oh, this is going to be a real juggernaut of a game." I can see this going either way. It's always okay. Yeah, Green Bay clearly is better than that team, and they should be. You've got a Hall of Fame quarterback. You've got all of these offensive linemen. You've got Devontae freaking Adams. You've got Aaron Jones, who is one of the most underrated running backs in all of the NFL. And then you got AJ Dillon, who is your beloved power back that nobody can tell you wrong about how great this man is, AJ Dillon. And then we want to keep bolstering up this offense, this defense, and a defense that outside of their corners, I'm like, okay, all the other position groups are to me.
They always had this enigma defensive stigma. I don't know. I don't get it either. I'm just gonna say it, but I'm not appalled by it because it's been off and on for quite some years with Green Bay.
Don't get me wrong, Jair Alexander, one of my favorite quarterbacks in all the NFL. I mean, we already know how I feel about Adrian Amos. I was hurt to see him go to get Green Bay when he left Chicago, and then we want to talk about their new Eric Stokes. The new corner over there. He was one of those diamonds in the rough. Again, a guy that probably shouldn't have gone to Green Bay in the first place because they needed a wide receiver. But regardless, they go ahead and they go get a true stud corner. And I by no means is that a bad pick in my book. Regardless, outside of those three guys on the back end, I'm looking at the rest of that defensive line. You got one or two guys.
Right.
It's not a 4-man rush that I'm just like, oh, there's no way we could ever stop these guys. And the same thing with their linebackers. I think they've got one linebacker in Preston Smith.
Right.
It's just, regardless. But we want to talk about organizational failures and broken promises. Let's get to it. It's the big one that since we were on the mics the last one, this is definitely the trade of the century. Deshaun Watson goes over to Cleveland after telling Cleveland no. Cleveland, you're out of the race apparently, and then literally less than 24 hours later, we get, hey Cleveland, let's rehash that contract negotiation. What you got over there? And they come back with 5 years, $230 million contract extension for Deshaun Watson there. But they say contract extension. It's literally a brand new contract. And then also fully guaranteed for him as well. And that only took Cleveland trading away 2024 6th round pick, a pick for 2023. 2023 first round pick, 2023 third round pick, 24 first round pick, 24 fourth round pick, a 2022 first round pick, and also a 2022 fourth round pick. So 6 picks, 3 firsts. I mean, it was definitely not as much as I thought it was going to be for him. You get the 3 first, and then you get some throw-ins. I definitely think Baker should have gone back in the trade, but we'll get to that in a second.
Right. You would have thought.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
But Baker, before this even happens, just straight up feels disrespected, and he tells them, "Hey, trade me." Baker comes in just like, "No, I'm not having this. We talked about this. We had a whole discussion about this. I'm supposed to be the guy, and this, that, the other. Everything that you wanted to tell me, all that fluff." And then boom, they go ahead and start going into contract negotiations. You know what? Just get me out of here. You clearly don't want me. Which, to some people might say fair. To other people might say, what are we talking about? I might be of the latter, but hey, I digress. But regardless, we're looking at a situation where now, after Matt Ryan ends up in Indianapolis, and we'll get to that in a second as well, just the amount of movement with the quarterbacks. We thought last year was a quarterback carousel. This year has become even crazier, and now there are very few spots that guys can go, and it looks like there's multiple quarterbacks that should be on the move.
Right.
So I just want to get your thoughts on. Let's start with Deshaun Watson in Cleveland. What do you think about that? Football-wise.
Very, very exciting times if he clears the 22 allegations and so on and so forth,
football-wise.
all of the legal aspects, and we get past the PR nightmare and all of the public services that he has to do, and the work release programs, and and at-risk youth, and becoming a mentor, and and all that, and make a wish, and wish upon a star, and all, and he's gonna have to, and then of course he's gonna become a beloved, embraced and indoctrinated into the Cleveland community of in Cleveland Nation, in the dog pound, and all of that comes with it, and now by far have the best quarterback ever in the history of their franchise, because this is going to surpass, if all he gets past all this and he is just able to be who he is going to far surpass what Bernie Kosar was.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's no disrespect to Bernie Kosar, but it's a passing of the mantle now. There's someone, they have someone who can actually compete and show and be at that type of franchise driven, this is superstar, super megastar, quarterback that can just lead a franchise just on his arm alone. Come on. Because of what I had that big disclaimer is the only reason why we can't even get into, or we haven't even heard this kind of conversation about, it's like, man, that's a good trade. It's been a very, almost like with a golf clap. We taking it for what it is, but we understand there's this attachment right now.
Yeah.
And so we really can't go all in just yet, because I'm like, we don't know what, we know we have them, but when can we use them?
So let's take the 22 lawsuits out of it. Let's say all of those get cleared up, regardless if he gets suspended this year or not. Moving forward, let's just go with the assumption that he does get suspended, full year suspension, regardless of what the outcome of those lawsuits are going to be, guilty or not guilty.
Right.
I'm looking at it like that's still you got the best side of the trade, in my opinion, Cleveland. with all of the lawsuits, that criminal lawsuits being cleared up, you're looking at a guy that isn't going to serve jail time.
Right.
He's probably going to have to pay some fines, but outside of that, you're looking at a guy that can play football. That is he was one of the top 5 young quarterbacks in the NFL when he played 2 years ago, and if he's coming into this Cleveland situation, don't get me wrong, he's clearly better than Baker Mayfield. Like let's just get that out of the way. But to me, I don't know if this puts them into the situation of, all right, now we can just go out there and win. Because to me, what is Amari Cooper? He had Dak Prescott for what is that 3-4 years straight, and that team won one playoff game, maybe if that.
I mean, but they also had a power run game, which Cleveland does. So I don't know. I mean, but it's definitely a replacement for OBJ and someone who could stretch the field and make the big catch. Not necessarily a burner or someone like that, but they still have some holes to fill. But I mean, hell, he was a good replacement and a good signing. Now the question was, they're going to bring back Landry. Do they go into free agency and bring some other wide receiver not named Sammy Watkins? You know, but anyway. Sammy Watkins, I love you to death. I don't. With that being said, I'll give it back to you because I lost my train of thought on that one.
No, it is mainly, I just feel like, after this year, if he gets a suspension, whatnot, Cleveland will be in a good shape, but they really have to hit home on. They've got to win a title now. Like, to me, like, there's a lot of pressure on Cleveland. You've got to win your division for one. You make this move, you're saying we're going to go toe-to-toe with Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens for years to come. That's exactly what you're saying. No, don't get me wrong. Joe Burrow is, to me, the best quarterback before this. Now,
you have to look at this for what it was. Now, let's go back 2 years. They did what they stepped up, tuned Kansas City up for 11 rounds, and in the 12th round, Kansas City finally got him with the overhand right and got out of there.
That Chad Henne special,
right? and got out of there on the cards. You know, at a split decision, they won. Whatever. However, taking that type of momentum and which I remember when the game happened, I'm like, I don't like this matchup because I like Cleveland. And Cleveland was dangerous.
Yeah.
And yeah, but it took the Super Bowl champion to be Super Bowl champions, to have to, it took them to have to beat them, because I'm like, other than that, they were on a roll and they was about to heat up. And okay, all that happened, and then last year happened. I don't know what the hell I'm saying when I say last year happened, specifically, but it happened, and not much came out of it in the winning column. When it was all said and done, and Baker was just at times struggling. And
Baker
he wasn't struggling at all.
I'm not saying. Listen.
I'm giving you my.
You're saying
I'm giving
struggling
you
as if he was just playing bad football. That term taken out of context when you actually look at the last season, he was injured in every game after week 3. This dude,
and he
separated shoulder,
and he played like
broken ankle.
And he played
dude came out there with a busted up knee.
I hear what you're saying. You're saying in spite of him all of this, look what he did. I'm saying because of all of that, look what he did. What I'm saying is it's not getting the job done.
That, take Baker off that team. Where are they? Freaking 2 wins.
Depending on who's the backup. I mean, who's the replacement?
Case Keenum.
No, Case Keenum?
Yep. I think two wins.
No, they'll win more games than
that.
No,
they would not. Case Keenum is not leading that team to do anything. If you're telling me Baker couldn't get OBJ the ball, for damn sure Case Keenum can't get that ball to Jarvis Landry when he's the only one on the field.
I'm saying, again, he doesn't pass the eye test, and
neither does Case Keenum.
I'm not. I'm just saying. This is about Baker. It's not really about Case Keenum because Case Keenum is a backup for a reason. See, for Baker, what's happened? We over here we're debating and discussing this first. He's a starting quarterback in the NFL. But let's be very clear. We have to rank all the quarterbacks. I'm sorry, he's on the back end of my list. He's getting down, not at the bottom, but he's not nowhere near the top. Let's
play this game then, because I want to see where we have him.
Let's go.
Obviously, we've got. Let's put the Hall of Fame greats up there: Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers, Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow. That's what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Who else do we got?
Oh no.
Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson, Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady,
Kyler Murray.
Which I'm questioning because of the way Kyler Murray played in the second half of the season, but that's also with freaking injury.
Dak Prescott, Russell Wilson.
Yes, obviously Russ is up there.
Who is in Indianapolis right now?
Matt Ryan. Was Carson Wentz. Neither one of them. I'm putting Baker above them.
I'm gonna come back to that because I don't necessarily. I can't say that right now. Trevor Lawrence. I know it's very small sample size.
Trevor Lawrence is gonna have to show me something. I'm not taking Trevor Lawrence over Baker Mayfield right now. I got to see 2 years of Baker Mayfield play actual special football.
One season is all we got to go off of.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying.
We'll put an NA on it. Herbert, no.
No, I'll give you that. Justin Herbert, I would put above Baker Mayfield.
Then we got Matthew Stafford. No, he ain't over him. Derek Carr.
Derek Carr, that's 11.
Okay, Tua.
No. Absolutely not. Don't even play with me. Absolutely
it's
not.
Possible.
No, it's not.
There you go. Cousins.
Absolutely not.
Nah.
Absolutely not.
We can go back to that. Cousins. I'm sorry. I won't
if you're gonna go to bat for Cousins, I think I already got this on lock.
No, I don't. We can keep going with the numbers. I'm gonna say Cousins. If I had to choose between the two, give me Cousins. Simple as that. How I build my team is how I build my team. I ain't say give me the Vikings versus
because you also have to take into consideration the contract. You're taking Cousins with a guaranteed $35 million over Baker Mayfield with a guaranteed 18.8.
This is based on talent, not contracts.
You have to take both.
You were saying who we was ranking. You said let's play this game, and I'm ranking them. Who would I put over him in my ranking system? Cousins would be over him. It's not. It has nothing to do with the contract. I'm talking about just from a talent aspect.
I'll take it from the talent aspect and
we're saying from a ranking
aspect
of ranking. The starting quarterbacks.
Baker Mayfield can move. He can actually get out of the pocket.
Mac Jones. His feet. I'll take Mac Jones over him.
Fine. That would be 12. I am not. I'm not going to let the.
We're gonna have another. We have another debate.
Conversation.
We'll have another debatable. I want to throw Jameis Winston in there.
We can debate that one too. I think I'll win.
Now, I'll give you Daniel Jones because that's a whole nother conversation. I am an avid opponent of
Daniel
this
Jones.
Guy has no business being a starting.
He should be the 32nd
quarterback anywhere. There's no surprise why the Giants is where they're at. It's because of the quarterback and what he has some levels of talent. Nevertheless, it's not a skill set that will get you W's in the NFL on no level, and specifically not at any kind of rate of being competitive. And he's just not that guy. You know what I'm saying? I'm sorry. I don't know if it has to do with Daniel Jones, the player, but the Daniel Jones and New York Giants thing together does not work.
Yeah.
And it's not going to work. I don't care who you bring over there. It's just not going to work. The fact that they passed and just going to take this just kind of like this gentleman's, this little victory lap for this next year and run this guy another year.
Yeah,
for what? Who's setting themselves up to be fired? I mean, just like seriously, like is this in the contract?
That's the funny thing. nobody's setting themselves up to be fired because they all just got hired.
That's what I don't understand. But they're like, well, we'll just take him. Why? Like, does that give you the out? Like,
what I think they're trying to do is they're trying to tank for the best possible, because I think the Giants feel the same way that I feel about this draft. There's no franchise quarterback in this draft. There are projects with a guy that could be possibly a starting quarterback in the NFL, but there's not a franchise-altering quarterback in this draft. So they're looking at it like, you know what? Fine. We'll run it back with Daniel Jones. We'll suck next year, just kind of the same way Chicago is doing it. But I think Chicago believes they have their guy. So we're just going to suck this next year, and we'll see where we're at, and we'll figure out where we're at in the draft, and we'll see what type of talent we can build with that capital.
Okay.
But okay, so Daniel Jones obviously not ahead of Baker on the list.
My list froze.
No. Well, who else is Jalen Hurts? I'm not putting Baker Mayfield over Jalen Hurts after one season.
He has to be another NA. I don't have enough.
Carson Wentz in Washington. I've said no.
Like he got the caveat of in Washington.
I'm saying because I was going through the rest of the division that we were just talking about.
I got you. When I say back in, he can be somewhere to. I mean, obviously he's somewhere in the middle toward the 16 to 22, somewhere in that range. He's talented, but I'm saying we're talking that he's at the back end of this list, of the guy.
But that's what you're saying. I'm saying right now, I don't think there's anybody else that I would put ahead after we just finished off with Derek Carr, and that was the 12th guy. That I'm saying that Baker Mayfield is the 13th best quarterback in the NFL right now, starting quarterback.
Wow, I don't think I have him that high. Not that high.
Because I'm taking him over Ryan Tannehill.
No,
after this last season that
yet.
I just watched him.
That was that. Oh, I'm not. No.
If you actually watched Tennessee last year and watched Ryan Tannehill play, again, they were a team that won despite Ryan Tannehill, not because of Ryan Tannehill. Just kind of the same way a lot of other people are talking about Indianapolis won despite Carson Wentz last year. He did not play well. He was not really leading anything. He really was just kind of in the flow of Mike Vrabel's system over there.
These game managers.
Yeah. And let's keep going with the AFC South. Davis Mills, I'm sorry. Great rookie year for you, bud. I'm really excited about him as a player.
Do not you poo-poo on no Davis Mills. He did nothing
exactly
to
why I'm
nobody.
giving this caveat.
He didn't do nothing to nobody. I don't even know why we brought his name up.
But I love Davis Mills as a player, but he is not better than Baker Mayfield. What's the last team in that division? Indianapolis, Jacksonville, Houston. We went through them. Tennessee. AFC West, we went through all of those. AFC North. Sorry, Mitch Trubisky. You're not going to cut it in Pittsburgh, but we've already given Lamar Jackson and Joe Burrow the nod there. AFC East. Josh Allen, obviously. Mac Jones, we gave him that one.
Wilson.
No, absolutely not. Wilson couldn't even play a full season last year.
I said I don't have Baker at the back end.
Jared Goff, absolutely not in Detroit over there. I gave him Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay, and I vehemently disagree with you on this Kirk Cousins point.
You adding contracts?
I'll say let's keep the contracts out of it. I still don't. Let's go with that one specifically. Baker Mayfield. How he contributes to his team is both with his arm and his legs. Outside of this last season where he literally couldn't throw because he separated and broke his shoulder, he has actually been a downfield threat. Jarvis Landry got put back on the scene because of the relationship he had with Baker Mayfield. And then the distraction OBJ created over there as well.
I mean, you seem like you really want to argue this, and that's fine.
Because here's why I'm so hot about this. Because I am not saying that Deshaun Watson is on the same level as Baker Mayfield. What I'm saying is I have an issue, and I agree with Baker at this point with the way that he was treated after all the stuff that happened. Take last year out of it. The first 3 years of his career, where that team was with Hugh Jackson the year before Baker Mayfield was drafted till just where they were when they beat Pittsburgh in the playoffs last year and then just barely lost to Kansas City the very next week in the playoffs in 2020. What are we talking about here? This dude has made this. We've been talking about how much we like this team for the last 2 years, on how definitely we think that this team could be something that can actually be a Super Bowl contender. After they've been in the obscurity for 20 years of just trash football.
Yep.
And then they come out with this, oh, we really don't think Baker could really be our franchise guy moving forward. Obviously, you have a chance at going to get Deshaun Watson to make your team better. Go ahead and do that. I'm not going to fault them for that. But to also go around and say this entire last season, the way the front office handled the situation of, first of all, not giving him the contract, but then coming out publicly saying, oh, he's our guy. We really want to back him. And we really, you kept giving him lip service on how much you loved him as a player, this, that, the other. You love his temperament. You love the way that he goes about his business and how he always has a chip on his shoulder. And you love the way that he has that moxie, that grit, that grind. That's everything that they keep saying about this guy. And then they just, with every action that they took this last year, they back none of that talk up. They continuously, no, we're gonna hold off. We'll see about the contract and this, that, the other. Yeah, we love that grit and grind, but you're playing hurt, so that's kind of a knock to you. We can't give you the contract now because you were hurt. You say on one hand you love that I'm going to be a fighter and I'm going to do everything to win you football games, but when I go out there and do that, you're going to knock me for it? Any other quarterback that would have said that or would have done the actions that Baker did, just because of the stigma Baker has from his time in college till today, just because of that, people are like, oh yeah, he's too immature, he's too childish. But if any other quarterback did that, you'd be like, oh, he bet on himself, he did what he thought was right, and man, they should be rewarded for it. But it's just because of some stuff he said 4 years ago, where he was really going at those Kansas Jayhawks who were talking trash, and he kicked the dog crap out of them. People are pissed, and I am tired of people trying to retcon what really is and what actually has happened over these last 4 years for Baker. We want to take this outside of you because you have made it very clear that it wasn't about this last season for you.
No.
Every other pundit that I've listened to, every other person that I've talked to is like, yeah, this last year, this dude played like crap, and there's no way that he could be a franchise quarterback. The dude played hurt because you guys have been talking about how much you love how gritty he is.
Having a bad season doesn't disqualify you from being a franchise quarterback. I'm saying, I was doing on a ranking system saying that, and it was, we were talking in the situation as to where the scope of where the league is right now, free in an off season, he might have to take on a backup role, but also coupled with Cleveland, the effort, is going to have to eat some of this contract, or a big portion of it, and so and now he's going to find that's going to be his exit strategy to get out of here. Because I'm like, if somebody was looking to change and move something right now in the off season, wouldn't it have already happened?
And this, before we got on the mic, this is what I was talking about. I don't think that, because I think with what happened with Indianapolis when they decided to go with Matt Ryan, that shook everything, and that had to put everything on hold because, all right, now we're 2 weeks away from the NFL draft starting day one. Some of these teams apparently really like Kenny Pickett, and we'll get into the draft talk in a later episode. But I'll just preface you guys, not sold on these quarterbacks. But at the end of the day, Malik Willis has come on as a hot commodity apparently, and so these guys might go after them. But you also still have, to me and you, bona fide starters in this league, and Jimmy Garoppolo and Baker Mayfield just sitting there, and it's like, okay, well, yeah, you might be able to get these guys cheaper for a year or two, but the second that they get to year 3 or 4 of that contract, you're going to be paying more than what you would for Jimmy Garoppolo or Baker Mayfield, and guys who have proven to be starting quarterbacks, not these projects that are going to take 3 years to even get the thought of like, oh yeah, we can trot him out and feel somewhat confident about it.
I mean, but let's take an example. Houston, Davis Mills. Don't have a problem with Davis Mills. Should Davis Mills get a shot? Yes, Davis Mills, you should get a shot. Should you get a shot over Jimmy Garoppolo and Baker Mayfield? No, Davis Mills, you should not, because you're not necessarily better than them statistically, but yet you are a very charming young man. And,
Yeah.
I used a really bad example because he's not ready, though. We could say he's just not ready. He's clearly not.
But I think
better.
he would really benefit from sitting behind a Jimmy Garoppolo next year.
A player of that nature as well. That's what I'm getting at. However, Houston, they decide, let's just go with Davis Mills now. You can get away with that last year. You're not going to be able to repeat that. And you add, we signed Brandon Cooks to an extension. We bringing him back.
Hey. They got our boy Marlon Mack.
Got Marlon Mack, because yeah, they're gonna do this running back committee thing. I've seen this in Houston. It does not look good.
No, it doesn't. They don't know how to do it.
And and now Mac is just in a carousel. That's really how I'm looking at it. He's just put on his carousel. So I'm not really I don't really think we're gonna get to see Marlon Mack.
We're not.
The guy that we've come to like, my God, let this man go. Let this free Marlon
let him
Mack.
Go somewhere.
Free Mac. Like, man, free this man and let this man go.
Yeah.
And they just shackled him. So with that being said, it's using like a team like that. It's a reason as to like why there's still Jimmy Garoppolo still sitting over there with the 49ers, and the 49ers is kind of looking at Garoppolo and Garoppolo looking at the 49ers like, what are we doing? And it's like, just hold on a second. We
I don't think it is.
They don't.
To me,
go ahead.
I think I truly believe this. I really think this would be the best thing for San Francisco to do. Just keep Jimmy Garoppolo this year. Don't trade him. Don't play Trey Lance. Play Jimmy again. What is the point in trading Jimmy Garoppolo if you're not going to get the value back for him, and then you're just going to have to toss him out there for a bag of chips and a Sprite back because it's just before the regular season, and it's just too much money. And it's like, no. You know what?
Who's pushing him out? I mean, I'm like, it seems like the reports are Trey Lance is our starter next year
because Kyle Shanahan said it.
Okay, is that what happened?
Kyle Shanahan at the league, the NFL owners meetings that happened a few weeks back, he basically did an interview and he was like, "Yeah, we're fully expecting to have Trey Lance play next year." And basically, we feel like he's like, "Yeah, we've been taking calls on Jimmy." And it's like, yeah, we got a couple of second round picks. Like, he was very open about what deals they were getting back, and we were like, wait, what?
And yet, pulled no deals.
They didn't pull the trigger on it, and then all the other quarterback carousel stuff started to happen. Russell Wilson, Aaron Rodgers re-signing. You also had the Deshaun Watson thing happen. Tom Brady retires, unretires, comes back. Almost went to Miami. Get to that in a minute. And then we also had Matt Ryan shipped off. So all of this wheeling and dealing and all this moving and everything, the dust settles, and it's just like, all right, well, there's only a few more places left to go, and we'll see where these guys end up on these certain in these certain areas. But at the end of the day, I really think the best situation for Jimmy Garoppolo and San Francisco, because I really don't think Trey Lance is ready. There's nothing that I saw from him last year in the very few instances we saw him.
And I'm noticing a trend. The sample sizes are getting smaller and smaller, and I don't have much to go off of. That's why I'm being very clear. The sample sizes are too small for me to really give any kind of real analysis other than letting you know I have not seen much of him to feel confident to say wow, he should be the starter. Now, I'm not in their organization, and I don't have no idea what they're doing in off season workouts, and and however they get in shape and get ready for the season. That may be just an internal thing to where that's something that they know that we'll never know. But with that being said, if it's not any of that, what the hell is going on here? And why in the hell is Shanahan so hell bent on getting rid of Garoppolo? I'm like, remember, this is the same dude who came and sustained your damn franchise in the first place.
Yeah. I mean, the other question is that if you are so ready to move on to Trey Lance, why didn't we see him towards the end of the year? What did he do in the last 6 months? Because you obviously got the 2 months of the end of the regular season and then leading into the playoffs. The playoffs, clearly he wasn't going to play because Jimmy Garoppolo was better. But what happened from the end of the season to today that made you be like, oh yeah, Trey Lance is ready to play? Because clearly he wasn't ready to play just 2 months ago.
Right.
So what happened? What did we see that was just, oh, he's going to be able to get it done? He hasn't been to OTAs. Well, now he hasn't been to OTAs yet. He's not going to be in OTAs until next week.
Or has it been some on the flip side? I'm just throwing this out here. I don't usually do this. It's something for whatever reason, and it just Jimmy G had that really bad moment and got mouthy at some point. I don't think that's what happened, but it's like, nothing makes sense here as to why you so hell bent on letting this guy go and just walk out of here, and really without bat an eyelash. Yeah, we moved up in the draft and got this guy. For what? I just took you to a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
If this ain't draft day, I don't know what this is. This is high stakes draft day narrative. Literally, like, what? My God, Jerry Cross, Phil Jackson stuff.
Yeah.
Look here, Phil. You can go 82-0 and get guaranteed taxes and death and this one other thing. You will not be coaching the Chicago Bulls next year.
Which is confusing with Jimmy Garoppolo because let's just take full context as to what just happened this last season. A team that was badly injured throughout the entire season. A team that Jimmy Garoppolo helped fight and scratch and claw to get into the playoff picture. A team, Jimmy Garoppolo, who led this team to an NFC Championship game where they barely lost on the final play. Yeah, bad. He didn't want to take the sack. He's just trying to get the ball away, and yeah, it got tipped and boom, interception. That happened. But outside of that play, he wasn't he wasn't the reason why they won. He wasn't the reason why they lost. He was Jimmy Garoppolo, the Jimmy Garoppolo that we've seen for the last 4 freaking seasons. That everybody has been like, oh, that dude, they're ready to go. As long as he can stay healthy, they're going to go back to the Super Bowl. So what has changed? What's different?
I don't know, and I'm saying we're getting back to the Garoppolo effect. Not gonna get into that, but the point being is, man, all he do is win, and yet we want to move on. He does not pass the eye test for whatever freaking reason, which is why, unfortunately, it was unfortunate that Tom Brady and Belichick just had their divorce prematurely, and to the point where Tom Brady obviously left a little bit too soon, and he was not ready to go with Garoppolo. But that was your guy right there, Bill Belichick. And it took you all these years to wait for Mac Jones, where to bridge this gap. But all I'm saying is that's where he should have been in the first place. He had no business in San Francisco anyway, and I'm saying from San Francisco, where clearly this franchise is not respecting this man's talent and what he brings, his value fully. I think they value him, but I think it's devalued. In a sense, it's diminished, where they're not seeing the full what they really have for its full value, and I don't understand why.
I mean, I couldn't tell you. I really couldn't.
And now he's still over there, like you saying. your scenario is the scenario, which is the reason what I was trying to get to, is a scenario that I would like to see. That he's the starter next year. Trey Lance is the 2. If Garoppolo goes down, Trey Lance comes in and takes over. Now the question is at that point, now if say Garoppolo went down for a week and he's ready to come back, are you
Alex Smith season 2.0.
are we changing are we changing over the baton the moment you get hurt? That's it for you. Or as opposed to, it's not like you've been out 6 weeks and they caught momentum and we just want to ride the tide. That's a little different as opposed to, like I said, he misses week 5. He's ready to come back in week 6. Sir, your career here is over. I got an ankle injury in the game I just wasn't, are you serious? I'm ready to play. There's a whole season left. You're done, sir. You know what I'm saying? It's still like 12 games. That's what I'm saying. That will be the ultimate, because my point of saying that is, after how I'm seeing him being treated over the course of his career there, in essence, at the end, I wouldn't be surprised if it played out like that. Just because it's a professional disrespect of, he's done nothing to but win. But my point is, if you are so sold on having somebody else there, why in the hell are you keeping this guy around here to parade all of this pageantry of we're moving on from you? This is what happened, and I'm switching sports, but to understand this just from an athlete standpoint, this is what the Bulls used to do to Scottie Pippen. Year in and year out with the trade rumors every single year. He was the biggest trade rumor every year for 5-6 years straight. Literally. That's the vibe I'm getting. That's all I was getting at.
Gotcha.
That's my point. So.
San Francisco, they've got themselves in it. They did it to themselves. I mean, you let Kyle Shanahan go out there and spill the beans and let everybody know what your intentions are. Yeah, now you're saddled with this situation. So, yeah, like I said, you did it to yourself. What else is there? Matt Ryan over to Indianapolis. How do we feel about that?
Matt Ryan, Carson Wentz.
Yeah. The Matt Ryan era in Atlanta is
Phillip
over.
Rivers. It's just it's 3 of the same cards places. It's the needle doesn't move a whole lot. They all have different skill sets and stuff. But my point is, I think for Indianapolis, I think they have gotten comfortable with just, hey, we just need a decent game managing quarterback. And I think I don't have a problem with that, because they have gotten they had up until now, they had increased talent in their skill positions, running backs, the wide receivers. Now, I only got one wide receiver right now, but tight ends were interesting. But now Jack Doyle, he actually retires. Like, who knows? Who knew?
He should have retired 3 years ago.
He was injured enough. You thought he was retired, but 6 games in 3 seasons or something like.
But then they go out and they re-sign Mo Alley Cox. Like, dude, move on.
Which I heard a very funny report about that. They were like, yeah, Jack Doyle had retired, and now what the heck? And he has no wide receiver. They have no tight ends whatsoever. And this was like 2 days after Mo Alley Cox signed. I'm like, we just ignored the fact that they said, wow. I was like, they ignored he was even on the team. I was like, wow. He just signed. He just re-signed. What are you talking about? Yeah. So anyway, what you saying that I understand. Mo Alley Cox, I don't know bruh. You ain't. Thank you. I got one of the greatest fantasy trades just using him and got rid of him. I got him for the one good game and shipped him off. Yeah. Anyway, so I just, it's seemingly they have gotten very content with just, we can go with game management and we have a balanced attack, and we can just find the right guy, But of course, defenses got to come into effect, and their defenses have gotten better over the last 3 seasons. But so I'm not making a correlation between quarterback play and defenses, but all that had to factor into that. But come on, we talking about Phillip Rivers, Carson Wentz, and now Matt Ryan. Now you already know I am not a Matt Ryan fan at all. However, if there is any silver lining, any redeeming quality ever to be given between my relationship of how I think and what I think about Matt Ryan and Matt Ryan himself, it is this. The fact that he has been traded out of what could have actually been a toxic situation called the Atlanta Falcons franchise
Yeah.
that overextended his stay no more than Mr. Julio Jones, which we have already given him his flowers for his nonsense and desolence. We have already given him. Before I string this man up, because I've already strung him up several times over anyway, so I don't find this time to be even necessary. I'm going to actually go the opposite and take the affirmative and give him his true flowers. As the saying, his one redeeming quality is that now that he is in a fresh situation, I am very curious to see what he actually does in Indianapolis. And the fact that he did replace Carson Wentz, which which is another guy who's not on my favorite list whatsoever. Yet I bought into him for last year based on the very thing I'm talking about now, that he has been traded out of a toxic situation called Philadelphia. And for what I've seen in Indianapolis, overall, it was a passing grade. He just didn't close the deal. But I know everybody's forever going to just never get past the Jackson. I couldn't get past it in the moment. But once it passed, I'm like, it happens. Jacksonville actually, every year they got 4 wins. They had to beat somebody. That's all I'm saying.
But let's also take into consideration, Indianapolis hasn't beaten Jacksonville in week 17 or week 18, last week of the season, in 4 years. They haven't. It is the bane of their existence for this last little half decade.
It's Jacksonville's Super Bowl. It's what it is. It's like almost, or the conference tournament or something like that. That's, what I'm saying. It's so JV, but that's Jacksonville. What else you gonna have going on? I mean, you got Tampa and Miami. Good luck trying to beat out those markets. You just not, Jacksonville. I don't know what they got. Hot dog day in week 4. Something. Just saying, it's just goofy stuff. Yes. Stick your
until
flag
Jacksonville
into London.
Gets rid of Trent Baalke, I'm done. I don't have any faith in them until they get rid of him. So, I mean, there's a lot of stuff. Let's get to a couple of other non-quarterback related topics. Bobby Wagner, 5 years, $50 million over to the Rams. How do you feel about that one?
Between Tampa and now the Rams, they just eating up in Buffalo. You all as well. They eating up all of this defensive talent, and they're building a juggernaut, a monster juggernaut over there. And Von Miller leaves, but then they get Bobby Wagner. I'm like, damn it! If you had to give somebody as your understudy, that's the way to go. So overall, I think it was a win. I take the Von Miller thing not so much as the Rams lost Von Miller. I thought they just gained him to help them win the title, and that happened. Now that they didn't keep him, that's neither here nor there. Because once you win a Super Bowl, all bets are off for me, from what I've seen, because teams do get dismantled right after championships. That has been going on since the age of time. I don't know why. I don't get it per se, but it's like it's just a renegotiation time. It's re-upping everything. We start all over. What about let's repeat? Everybody got to we got to take care of business first, and if all that falls in the line, and the stars line up, and all that good stuff, and the constellations and all, then we all stay. And then the math wizards came out, and Dr. Frankenstein, of mathematics, and then they did the new math, which we got to see and display in Tampa Bay, and now the Rams have caught on, and the Raiders have caught on, and everybody has caught on to, okay, let's just start let's start paying out signing bonuses and front load their contracts and bonuses. And that way, that'll free up all kinds of magical cap room, free money, imaginary money, space, just, to now we can sign anybody and everybody. So to answer your question, I thought it was A plus signing. If you the Rams, I'm
Well,
excited.
sure. Yeah, I mean, I mean, obviously he's not the same player as Von Miller, but definitely bringing in a guy that can lead that linebacker room.
If you
that's
had to
massive.
lose Von Miller, who the hell? You know what I'm saying? Who you really replacing him with? You know what I'm saying? In the natural course of things, if you was able to replace, that's not a big drop off. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I really like the signing. I like what they did. It definitely helped fill that void that they had there. Some more interesting things that have happened. I mean, let's talk about. I don't know if we talked about it last time, but Von Miller heading over to Buffalo. Did that happen in the midst of our last conversation?
I don't think it did.
I know that happened a little while ago, but and if we did talk about it last time, we apologize. But that's still a
It
massive.
was right
thing.
on the line if we did, because I don't fully remember.
Buffalo's the best team in the league.
Absolutely.
I mean, I'm not trying to cast any aspersions against any other team, but God, Buffalo comes in after a heartbreaking, a gut-wrenching loss in the playoffs in the second round. Your Chiefs go ahead and Red Kingdom it all the way home until next week, but
It was
that's neither here nor there.
Let's call it what it was. It was the people's Super Bowl.
Honestly, it was the best game of the playoffs.
Best game of the season.
Yeah, fair enough. And also, then they go back and they re-up with Stephon Diggs. They get him a long-term contract. They still need to figure out the run game, in my opinion. But regardless of that, you still got Josh Allen, who we thought might have a little bit of a slump after his coming out party last year. And no, he's turned into a
monster.
Yeah,
a monster. Yes.
Yeah, and Patrick Mahomes, beware. You got a dude on your tails that's going to be competing. That matchup, I am hoping, becomes Manning Brady 2.0. Josh Allen versus Patrick Mahomes. I want to see that every single year. That one matchup. That's a game that I have to see. Whether it's Thursday, Monday, Sunday night football. Because if you put that in the middle of the day, NFL. So help me God, I am going to roast you because that is a marquee game that is going to make all the dollars on prime time.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yes, you got the. Oh my. I'm just as I'm looking at the names in the AFC, the headline. Oh my God, so much depth in the AFC. Yeah, Wilson and Burrow, and Jackson and Herbert. Come on, we're not even talking about the two headliners.
I'm sorry, breaking news.
Listening.
Your boy Ryan Nall signed with Dallas Cowboys.
How's that breaking news? I heard about that 3 days ago. But go ahead.
Did you? I did. I literally just came across it.
No. You're saying breaking. No,
Yeah.
I thought you meant like in
No. I didn't.
Like
I was
ESPN
going
was
through.
like saying breaking.
No.
Yes, I didn't have an opportunity to talk to you about that. I did talk to our man Decal. We did have
Okay.
this conversation, and I had it was a couple of nights ago, and I heard it sitting in the car, listening to the radio.
Ryan
I was
Nall. He found
I was
himself.
like, he was still in the league. Are you serious? Yes.
See you, bud.
Now he's the number 3.
Off to greener pastures.
Hey, Jerry Jones is about to go with the power run game this year.
He's the only power back they've got over there.
Look, you lost the receiver. You lost Cooper. You're gonna might as well just go ahead and just say we're gonna run 3
Line
guys.
up on the X.
Now we're
Line up on
gonna
the
run
X.
3. We're gonna run 3 now. Just run. We got to do something different.
Sorry, I
so.
derailed this conversation. Let's get back to
Yeah, because
Buffalo.
Dallas is a mess. So.
Let's get back to
Gosh.
Buffalo for a second here. They did that. They go ahead and they get Von Miller and add him to an already just glorious roster. But then they go out here and break my heart because I thought there was no way they could find the money to match Chicago's offer for Ryan Bates, guard over there. Young stud guard in the NFL who really has been one of Buffalo's best offensive linemen as of late. And now they go ahead and match the offer. And Ryan Bates is back here in Buffalo as well. So they've got a great offensive line. They've got the quarterback. They've got the receivers. They don't have the running backs, obviously, but they've got their tight end in Dawson Knox, who's really great. Their entire defense on every single level is they're all studs, and then they've got draft picks, so they can even go in the draft to address the running back position. They can continue to address the pass rush, which they really don't have to. I think they just need to find another linebacker, and to kind of just play coverage linebacker. They don't need another pass rushing guy, in my opinion. But if they added it, it wouldn't hurt them. So I don't know who's really going to be competing against Buffalo next year, because that team is...
Can I run off just who they signed? Just
go ahead.
Oh, I mean, it is ridiculous. Matt Barkley, Case Keenum.
Oh, they got Case Keenum too. Wow.
In a trade with the Browns.
Okay.
For a 7th round pick, yeah. Jamison Crowder, Duke Johnson, re-signed Stephon Diggs. Hold on.
Contract extension for Stephon Diggs.
Right. All right, hold on. They're going to show me everything that they did. Okay. So they re-signed Jake Kumaro, another wide receiver. Re-signed Isaiah McKenzie. And he was the number 3, which remains... No, he was the number 4. Let me stop, because we had Cole Beasley. Which we lost. But then they signed O.J. Howard to go along with Dawson Knox. Oh, boy. See, this is where it starts. See, this, I'm an offensive guy when it comes to football. But
yeah.
This is, and we already got our man, breakout sensation Gabriel Davis coming off a 4-touchdown game, which probably we've seen his best game ever, and probably we're ever going to see. However, we're just gonna ride the tide with this.
It's his
like
moment. That Chris Hogan
It's
game.
His moment. And I already know, and I knew when to pull out. Y'all need to listen. I'm just throwing it out there. Everybody gonna go right. Yeah. Anyway, no. He's solid. Let me be very clear.
I mean, as a number 4 or a number 3, I like him.
And that's okay. And that was just okay. That's the offensive side. Then they get they re-signed Bobby Hart. They re-signed Ike Bodiger. They get Roger Safford, the offensive guard.
Yep.
And then center Mitch Morris signed a 2-year extension.
And Von Miller.
I'm getting to Von Miller. Then they picked up defensive end Shaq Lawson, defensive tackle Daquan Jones, defensive tackle Tim Settle.
Yep.
Defensive lineman Jordan Phillips, and then of course Von Miller, and then cornerback Serene Neal, who re-signed. I'm just saying they've been busy, and like we ain't even gotten to the draft yet. I'm like, damn it, they can go with this and this alone, and they would be just fine. Like the draft, and I think that's the way you want it. When you go to the draft, you just in there saying, okay, what do we need to tweak? That's when you're in control. They're in the driver's seat, and this is where Kansas City is in the driver's seat, but they had to change cars.
Yeah.
And they had to kind of, downgrade a bit. And, they had a nice little, they used to have them at rental, you used to go to Enterprises and stuff, and you get different classes of cars. Well, yeah, they had the SUV, but now they're not in a full body, sedan.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's all good, but, you'll be all right, until further notice. But yes, Buffalo is that team. So.
Well, there's a lot of guys still out there, what I think what this offseason has been like so far. We had that out of the gates quarterback carousel, big shuffle, big news, breaking news for 3 days straight, and then it kind of died off a little bit. And we had big name here, 2 days later, big name there. Oh, this guy's going there. No, he decided to actually go this way. We've had a couple of things here or there, but now since April's really hit, it's been pretty quiet. We haven't had too many massive deals happen and whatnot. But at the end of the day, we've got quite a few guys left on the table, and what I think is going to happen is we're going to get to the draft. We're going to see how these teams shake out after the draft, and then we're going to see another wave of free agency peak back up as we get into training camp session and mini camp session time of the year, June, July window, basically, before we get into preseason mini camp. But we got a lot of guys still available. Let's go through a couple of those really quickly here. Guys, I mean, Julio Jones is still out there. Jarvis Landry, Tyrann Mathieu, Landon Collins, Trey Waynes. Gilly's still out there. Jason Pierre-Paul. Akeem Hicks is on the board. Dwayne Brown, Joe Hayden, J.C. Treader, Joe Sherbert, Will Fuller, Eddie Goldman, Brandon Williams, Mario Addison, Brian Bulaga, Ryan Fitzpatrick, Eric Flowers, Matt Paradis, Kyle Fuller's on the board. I mean, Jesus Christ. Anthony Hitchens, Ndamukong Suh, Dante Hightower, Anthony Barr, Linval Joseph. The list continues. Chris Harris, Laurent Duvernay-Tardif, Carl Nassib, Eric Fisher is still out there. Melvin Gordon, T.Y. Hilton, Darrell Williams, Jimmy Graham is out there. Jadeveon Clowney, Rob Gronkowski, Riley Reif, Janoris Jenkins. Like, there are names. Danny Trevathan, Nick Kwiatkowski, Trey Hopkins, Carlos Dunlap, Marcus Cannon, Larry Ogunjobi. He was supposed to come to Chicago, but couldn't pass his physical. Bryce Callahan, Cam Newton, Emmanuel Sanders.
I guess it's just open season after the
draft. Eric Ebron.
Jeez.
Keelan Cole, Jason Verrett.
That's giving me some hope for Kansas City because I'm just like, man,
Xavier
like
Rhodes.
Free agency just died out at this point.
Brandon Shell, Jared Cook, Tack McKinley still on the board. Like, Melvin Ingram's still out there.
Wow.
Sheldon Richardson, Alan Hearns. Haven't heard that name in a while. AJ Boye.
I didn't even know he was still active.
KJ Wright. Tayshaun Gibson. There's guys out there still, like impact players are still out there. And then you also have your role players are still out there. I mean, Sony Michel is still on the board. If you need a running back, like, come on. Like, there are so many guys on the board right now that can really make an impact on a lot of these teams. I can't wait to see when this stuff is going to start getting moving here, because there's a lot of good prospects that could really come in and really, really impact a team, depending on what situation they end up at.
It is. I agree. It's going to make free agency very intriguing after we get through the draft. I know we kind of putting the cart before the horse, but just for the sake of speaking from free agency,
yeah,
that's what has to happen.
This is partially why it's been so long since we've talked about this, because there hasn't been enough big news to really warrant this, and there's so many big names that I've just been waiting to say, oh wow.
We got that small burst at the beginning, but then, and I mean, let's be real. We got a couple of, left field, kind of doozies that came out of nowhere. Let me be very clear. That Tyreek Hill thing, we
didn't get into that, but
we haven't. And I'm barely bad at segues, and I'm sorry about that.
No, you're good.
It was, I'm thinking more from a Chiefs aspect, and I'm already looking at Patrick Mahomes on my screen anyway, but that just, what I'm saying? We've gotten a few things here and there, but that was like a significant trade happened.
Yeah,
but,
well, let's talk about the two wide receivers that got traded really quick here, because we talked around the Devontae Adams thing, but we also talked around Tyreek Hill. And I think Miami is at a point right now where they're saying, and this is one of the reasons why I feel like I would rather have Baker Mayfield over Tua, because I'm looking at Miami, and Miami's like, all right, Tua, prove it to me. After everything that's been going on, and how much we're 100% for you. Oh, we're all in on Deshaun Watson. No, we really love Tua. Like, the back and forth that Tua's been through, it's been like, dude, what else do I have to do? I fought back from this injury for you guys. I did everything that I could to get on the field.
Wow.
You threw me out there before I was ready to try to take Ryan Fitzpatrick's job.
Right.
Like, everything that he gone there. Then they go on. They come out. They beat New England week 1. Then they lose 7 straight games, and then they win 7 straight games. With all of the mess that's been happening in the front office over there, like, what
Right.
possibly does Tua else have to do to just get a fair shot? And they're like, you know what? Here it is. We're gonna give you your weapons. You got Jalen Waddle already. We're gonna go ahead and get you Tyreek Hill. They re-signed Mike Gesicki, or they franchise tagged Mike Gesicki.
Right.
They don't really,
I don't
in
know
my
how I feel
opinion, have
about
a
that.
great. I know you don't, but
I guess. I mean, who else you gonna play? I don't know.
not my favorite offensive line though in the AFC. But hey, you still got some players up there. It's not the worst. Running back wise, is running back by committee.
They're
And
interesting
then
pieces though.
yeah, but and then defensively, you got some pieces over there too. They just re-signed. And this one shocked me that Xavier Howard actually restructured his contract.
Okay.
So, because it sounded like going into last season, he wasn't going to play for them ever again, and now he's restructuring with them, and they've got a guy over there. So, I think at this point we just really need to see, and hey, Tua, go out there and prove it. You've got your weapons now, and we're going to be competitive next year, and if we're not in competition to go ahead and win this division, and if we're not better than New England next year, hey, we're moving on. And they're gonna feel real dumb for not pulling that trigger on Deshaun Watson.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they gambled, but again, there's another situation. If you swung for the fences on Deshaun Watson and missed, but you ended up with Tyreek Hill, I'm just saying. No, it ain't the same position. It's but damn, they made a splash somewhere.
Yeah.
And they get, and you know what? And I like, because people are like, oh my God, Kansas City got away with a steal and this and that and this and that. If you're Miami, what in the hell I'm gonna do with all these draft picks anyway? I mean, we've been trying to build through the draft, and 6 picks.
How many times have they
Maybe
been up
we'll
there at
hit
number
on
5?
2 of them. Thank you. I'm like, Tyreek Hill, sure thing, 1 for 1. Get him over here. Did you need a 7th? We didn't even a 4th. All right, I just wanted to make sure we're good. Sign the paper. Bravo, Miami. Bravo. Took advantage of. Wow, I couldn't believe it. I'm still in shock, and this is literally a salary cap thing.
Yeah.
The fact. Can I? No, I don't want to. I'm not gonna go.
Well, I was going to say, because I want to talk about this from. I've given my soliloquy for the Miami side of things. Kansas City. I'm not, because let me preface. I don't know if Tyreek Hill forced their hand, but regardless of the situation, we were talking about, all right, all you need to do is fix the defense. Go out there, fix the defense, keep what you got, and boom, you're right back in the Super Bowl. You're still that team, and no matter how much LA has looked like they're coming on like gangbusters, you are going to be the team to beat in that division. And sorry, we still beat you last year, Buffalo. You're going to have to come back next year and prove it.
Yeah.
And that would have been the case. But now, I'm sorry, Kansas City has fallen to, at best, the third best team in the AFC.
Yeah, you keep putting the Chargers ahead of them. That's fine.
I'm not trying to say that. Oh, Kansas City, there's no way they're still a Super Bowl contender in my eyes.
I get the sentiment.
But I feel
they're
like it's
falling out of this spot that they've been sitting and holding very firmly for down there 4.5 seasons,
5 years,
basically. And now we got a bunch of kids on the block, not a new kid. Then they are hungry, and they already got smacked in the mouth now by Cincinnati last year twice.
Mm-hmm.
And all at the end of at the end of the year. So it was in a very small, space
a
of
4-week
time.
span.
Right. It was like, it wasn't a fluke. They're like, oh, you thought we smacked them again, like, are y'all going to fight back? And I'm like, that's embarrassing after you came off what I asked, arguably the greatest game of the season against Buffalo. And I'm like, I understand if you was just flat because you had nothing left after that game. And
you were up by 18.
That's not the case. So apart from that and any other controversial nonsense that comes with that, I'm done. Moving on. Now, yeah, Kansas City is I'm not gonna even argue the whole between them and LA at this point. It doesn't matter because they have done it to themselves so much as a fan. The fact that conversation is valid now, I don't even want to debate it. It's just like, you know what? The fact that it's valid is a problem for me because like it was for 4 years. I'm just sitting there like, yep, we got the West on lock, if not the conference. I'm like, I've been waiting 30 years to be able to do this, to flex like that. And I'm like, now that window is closing because...
And don't get me wrong, they still have an opportunity at winning this whole thing.
And this is not done. Just as of April 14th to right now, I'm not happy with what I'm... it's in this ebbs and flows. Right now, I'm in the valley part with them. Like, okay, too much time has went by. Have y'all just said we just gonna hold into the draft? Because I'm like, that's gonna get exciting. That's a whole nother conversation. Oh my God, I can't wait for the draft. I can't wait for the draft.
Back-to-back picks in the first round.
They got 12 picks.
Oof.
They don't need 12 players. They got to do something with these picks. My question is, do they? And I've been listening, and man, I'm starting to get into the draft stuff. So now I'm starting to get excited based on just possibilities. That I probably get my heart broken on the draft because they might not do none of these things. But the question is, do they trade them? Do they use these assets to trade up and move up in the draft and begin in the top 10, like one of the top 10 picks? And now I'm saying for Kansas City, if they do that, oh my God.
But here's what's concerning with that to me, because now, granted, I would say Kansas City, unlike a lot of other franchises, them trading up into the top 10, they could definitely make the right decision. They did the same damn thing to get one of the best quarterbacks in the entire NFL right now, in Patrick Mahomes. So I'm not going to say that they can't do it.
And they got 12 draft picks.
Yeah, but what concerns me is that, to me, this is a very defensive-heavy draft. This isn't like, okay, this is a star talent on the offensive side of the ball. This is a star wide receiver. They better not draft a damn quarterback, especially in this damn draft.
So,
and two, but hey, and they've already fixed the offensive line. Like I don't think the offensive line is a place that they should go.
So in light of that, will the value that is necessary for this deep defensive draft be there at 29 and 30? Because I'm concerning when you're that deeply at the back of the first round. It's almost like it's a second round pick.
Here's what I feel: they could get a impact front seven player at that late into the first round. My only issue is that I don't feel like they need that, especially if they go back and re-sign Melvin Ingram. I wouldn't feel like they would need to go do front seven.
What are they addressing in the draft?
But to me, if you trade up, that's telling me you want to go after corner. I don't think there's a cornerback worth trading up for that high in the draft.
I know. See, but then there's the scenario they'll be trading up in the draft to get a wide receiver, one of them stud wide
which
receivers.
Now they need.
Which yes, they do, but they don't need it. None of this is needed more than anything on the defensive end of the ball.
Exactly.
That's my problem. I'm like, I think. Go ahead. It's fine.
What I think would be the smartest thing for Kansas City to do in the draft is trade up into the early 10s, or like that 10 to 13 range. Get the wide receiver that you want. You be the team that starts the run on the wide receivers. Go get the best wide receiver that you want. Because to me, I've been doing the draft analysis. I'm not 100% sold on the wide receiver depth in this draft.
Mm-hmm.
But regardless, all the pundits, I am the outlier on that one. So I will eat that and say, hey, you go do what they're saying and trade up. Go, you start the run on the wide receivers. With that being said, use that other pick, or if you had to use both your picks to move up, use some of those later picks to trade back into the first round later on to go get a corner, go get a defensive back or a pass rusher, just something on the defensive side of the football. But they should make two selections in the first round, and it should be, in my opinion, wide receiver and corner, because those are the things we've been saying for so freaking long. They need to address. Definitely. Well, not wide receiver, but corner.
Right. Then of course they can sprinkle in a defensive lineman or there's a linebacker. Yeah. Definitely need to go looking at some safeties. I mean, anything on the offensive side of the ball is just cosmetic. We're just adding. But do we need another deep threat, young talent? Absolutely. We lost Tyreek Hill and Brian Pringle. Let's be really clear about
Chicago got him.
And my other guy, the burner, the little guy, Robinson. And I mean, that's three. There has been an overhaul at the receivers for Kansas City just overnight, and I'm just in shock. I'm looking like this is a whole possibility
they can go get a OBJ.
Look, he's the best. He would be the best possible scenario. That's from a free agent standpoint, not out of trades. Free agent wise, yes, he's the best. He would be the best option and the best available.
Who do you want them to trade for?
Well, like DK Metcalf over there. To be perfectly honest.
That's an interesting thought. My only thing is that they would who do they have left wide receiver wise?
Who?
Kansas City.
Who do they have left? Miko Hardman. Miko Hardman. What am I saying? Coleman. I want to look.
That's fine. And yeah, he's the slowest burner of the three, but he's still fast. But I guess.
Which three?
Pringle, him, and Tyreek.
Hardman was faster than Pringle.
Oh, was he?
Yeah.
That had to be close though. Pringle's pretty fast.
I'm not saying he wasn't, but Pringle wasn't faster than him.
Okay.
It was Hill, then it was Robinson, Hardman, and then whoever you want to say after that, because they were trying to say Watkins, but Watkins wasn't that fast.
No, absolutely not.
So it probably was Pringle after that.
Wow, I didn't know Pringle. Well, they just had the speediest wide receiver core in the entire NFL. Regardless, I mean, I guess it could work because they have Juju. I forgot about that. They did.
That would be like your Sammy Watkins. He's not a burner.
No, run. But here's where I feel like he's way better than him. Juju to me reminds me of like an Allen Robinson. I'm just gonna secure the catch and I'm not gonna get any yards after catch.
That's fine.
Which is fine. DK is gonna be a very physical wide receiver. Which, okay, do they need that? Because you already to me he'd just be another tight end.
I'm just saying, but it could stretch the field, and you have a tight end, the best tight. I'm looking at the potential how it will work on that team, not just because DK Metcalf he can make any team that he goes to better.
I'm comparing DK Metcalf versus trying to go get Odell Beckham. You bring Odell Beckham in, obviously he's got to recover from the knee, but
no, and you'll be getting him free agent as opposed to a trade. I was just saying. Unless it was somebody in a trade, that's all I was getting at. But that's at that point, I can take any pick of the litter now. I'm like, oh man, who would I want now that's on another team? He would be at the top of my list.
He's on the trade block, or he should be anyway.
And he's in a position realistically where Seattle's going to end up moving him at some point. Yeah. It just either they don't want to keep the contract and they're not building around, and I don't think they want to respect this man and not keep him a part of a rebuild, and he's not Mr. Joe Seattle, so Lockett, you may be there for the rest of your life, buddy, but
die with the ship.
That's the contract they're going to take on.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying, I'm looking at also probabilities. Like he makes sense to be a trade candidate as opposed to, I would really like to see Devontae Adams come over there. Devontae Adams is not going to get traded no matter how much money they throw at him. And it's, what I'm saying? It's unrealistic, but it's based on that. But let's keep it to the free agencies. That's really where that's even more realistic. OBJ, oh my God, him and Juju together. Are you serious?
That would be dynamic.
1A, 1B scenario again, hands down.
With
And
Hardman coming in that slot position. Well, he really
and
wouldn't be in the slot.
MVS, which now
forgot about
that brings
MVS,
him
yeah.
as a wild card. Like, oh my God, what do we really have with this guy?
You
Like,
can figure out what he really is.
and Josh Gordon.
Yeah, he did come back.
So it makes it interesting then. And then it's kind of, and we have the galvanizer of them all, Travis Kelce.
Yep.
And that I will feel much better. But I'm still feeling they're missing that one piece. You
Yeah.
know, now.
I think they need one more because to me, Juju is not a 1B unless he has a 1A. When he doesn't have the
Exactly.
1A,
He's
he
a 2.
becomes a 2.
Exactly. Nothing to be in some kind.
So, I think we can really call it there. There is a lot of speculation that comes out of this because we just don't know at this point. There's so much unknown at this point in the season because there's so many guys still out there. And we'll probably in the next few weeks, let's get into some more draft talks and more draft analytics and analysis here because it's that time of the year. This isn't one of the most fun drafts to cover, but I will do my due diligence and get you guys the thought process heading into this draft here. But other than that, stay tuned. NBA content's coming up as the playoffs are right around the corner. So stay tuned. Just keep an eye out. We're going to keep you guys updated on everything. Thank you guys for listening.
Have a good night.